A regular problem with the kind of travel that we do is that when you're going to an airport to make a connection, you have to allow a certain amount of time for the airport, normally about 2 hours. But you often have to travel to the airport, and you have to allow a certain amount of time for things that are going to go wrong during that travel. Or as we had happened today, we needed to drop off a rental car at the airport 4 hours before our flight. So there was no real good way around it. We didn't want to go back into a city or do something like there was not practical. So we end up spending the day in the airport because there's just nothing you can do about it very much. And this is something that comes up a lot, and you just kind of have to accept that living in airports is going to be a part of your routine. If you're taking trains or ferries, you tend to minimize this a little bit, but the effect is still there. But with airports, it's extra extreme because there's so much that can go wrong getting to the airport, getting on the plane, or just whatever. So you kind of have to think that you're probably going to need to build in quite a bit of time for just sitting at an airport. And like today, we've been here already for several hours. At least I've put in several thousand steps just pacing the airport. But the airport is not really air conditioned, so it's 27 degrees Celsius inside, which is bearable but really warm and uncomfortable. And there's no working Wi-Fi. There's very little 3G service. So you're pretty much offline. You can get email, but you're not going to do anything online while you're in a situation like this. And it's just warm. So there's nothing to do. And in a small airport like this, there's like one cafe that's super expensive. There's like really nothing to do. And we have to be here for at least 2 hours before we can even try to go through security and get to the terminal itself. So that makes it extra tough, and we run into that a lot. In the United States, it's not so bad. They tend to let you into the terminals about 3.5 hours before your flight, but in Europe, it's common to let you in no more than 2 hours before your flight, and sometimes like 90 minutes. And in some cases, they'll only give you about 45 minutes from the time that they tell you where your gate is. They'll suddenly say, okay, you're at gate C4, go, right? And you just have to watch the board like a hawk, see it, and run for the gate. That is awful. This is just a little bit annoying. We're expecting to have our information on the board in about 20 minutes. We've been here for a couple hours. It's okay. But we're definitely looking at a very long wait on one side, and then we're going to have to switch to another location and do a very long wait on the other before doing a flight that's not even as long as we've been waiting in the airport. Today we're flying Iraklio in Crete over to Rome, Italy, where we'll be for the next 2 days before going down to Naples and Pompeii, then up to Tuscany and Umbria.